Hi guys, this is Miss Forness. I'm going to go ahead and do the tangent sum and difference problem that's on your homework and also on your Google Classroom homework. If you look on your worksheet, worksheet 6-4, it's number 15, tangent of 15. I'm going to do that problem with you guys right now. And sorry, I'm using my iPhone, so it's a little funky. I don't have my document camera at home. So hopefully there's kind of the weird lighting, but hopefully we can get this to work. All right, so I have tangent of 15. Now, 15 degrees isn't on my unit circle, right? It is, but it's not one of my pretty points. So what I need to do is use my sum and difference formulas to break down 15. So how I can do that is I can rewrite this as tangent of 45 degrees minus 30 degrees. Why? Because 45 minus 30 gives me 15 degrees. So I have that. And so this is a tangent sum and difference formula with a minus. So if you guys remember, the tangent formula is tangent of alpha minus beta equals, the numerator looks like it distributes. So I have tangent alpha, right, minus tangent beta. Now we're really not distributing, right? Mathematically that's incorrect. It just looks like it. And then the bottom is 1, and then the opposite is plus, and then you multiply tangent alpha, tangent beta. So that's my formula, so I'm going to use that here. And in this case, my alpha is 45 degrees, and my beta is 30 degrees. So let me go ahead and plug this into my formula. So if I plug in the right side, this is going to be tangent alpha, which is tangent 45 degrees, minus tangent beta, which is tangent 30 degrees, all over 1, opposite sign, plus tangent alpha, tangent 45 degrees, tangent beta, tangent 30. And these guys are being multiplied. All right, so we're here. So now I'm going to do a little side note because we're talking about 45 and 30 degrees. So I'm going to talk about the unit circle. So let's think back to the unit circle. I'm looking at the tangent unit circle, right? So I have that. So this is at 45 degrees. Here I have 30 degrees, 60 degrees. This is 90 degrees, and then this is 0 degrees. Okay, so there's my angles, right? So tangent, right? If you guys remember, tangent is Texas State College, right? S over C, sine over cosine, which is y over x. So how we got our tangent values is we did the y over x at each point, at each coordinate, right? Each point we got the y coordinate divided by the x coordinate. So here we have 1, 0, so 0 over 1 is 0, right? So that's that tangent value, put a box around it. Here we have 1/2. Square root of 3 over 2, 1/2. So square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. That gives me the square root of 3 over 3. Here I have square root of 2 over 2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2. That is 1. Here I have my y over x. This would be the square root of 3 over 2 divided by 1/2. So this would be the positive square root of 3. And then here, this is your coordinate at 90 degrees is 0, 1. So 1 divided by 0 is undefined. So that is the tangent values of the first quadrant of my unit circle. So here, I'm going to plug in what I know. Tangent, let me zoom out just a little bit if I can, or not. So tangent 45 is 1, so I'm going to plug in a 1. And then it's minus tangent of 30. Tangent of 30 is square root of 3 over 3. So I have square root of 3 over 3. And then I'm going to divide 1 again, and now it's plus, and then it's tangent 45. What is tangent 45? 1. Put that in parentheses. And then times tangent 30. Tangent of 30 is square root of 3 over 3. All right, so I'm left with this. Now I'm going to go ahead and simplify this 2 ways. I'm going to split up the numerator and then the denominator first. So first let me do the numerator. I have 1 minus square root of 3 over 3. Now I'm going to rewrite 1 because this is a fraction. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite 1 as 3 over 3 because 3 divided by 3 is 1. And then subtract it from the square root of 3 over 3. So then here what I'm going to do is, since now it's the same denominator, I'm going to rewrite the top and then write it over there. So I'm going to put a little bubble around it. So it's over 3. So I'm going to write it over one denominator. Now that's not my answer, that's just the answer, the numerator. That's the simplified version for that. So now let me look at the denominator. The denominator I have 1, right? So I have 1 plus 1 times the square root of 3 over 3 is just the square root of 3 over 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I need to add 1 with a fraction, so common denominator. I'm going to rewrite 1 as 3 divided by 3 plus the square root of 3 over 3. And now that they have the same denominator, you get 3 plus the square root of 3 over 3. And this is the answer to my denominator. Now, it's numerator divided by denominator, right? So I have a fraction divided by a fraction. So over here, a little side note, I'm going to do dividing fractions is easy as pie, right? Flip the second, multiply. So I'm going to write the first thing that I have, 3 minus the square root of 3 over 3. Then I'm going to flip the second, so I get 3 over 3 plus the square root of 3, and multiply. Now when I'm multiplying these guys, this is in its own little factor bubble, right? So these are all being multiplied, so I can cancel the 3's because everything's being multiplied. So I'm just left with 3 minus the square root of 3 over 3 plus the square root of 3. Now be careful here. I cannot cancel these out, and I also cannot cancel these out because we're adding and subtracting. Now this is our answer, but it's not simplified. Why? Because we have a rational in the denominator. It's not good math manners to leave a rational in the denominator, so I need to simplify this. Now I need you guys to think back from Algebra 2. How do you get rid of a radical in the denominator when you have a number, right? A real number, whole number in front? What you have to do is you have to multiply by the conjugate. And it's the conjugate of the denominator because I want to get rid of the rational part, right? The radical here. Excuse me, the radical here in the denominator. So I'm going to change the sign in the middle. So this is plus, so it's going to be 3 minus the square root of 3. But what I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So that's what I have. And these are in its own little bubble right here, right? Factor. So now I need to simplify this. And what I'm going to do is I have a binomial, so I'm going to FOIL the top and bottom. Get excited. So many radicals. All right, so let's go ahead and FOIL the top. So first, the square 3 times 3 is 9. Outer, you get negative 3 times the square root of 3. Inside, you get negative 3 times the square root of 3. And then last, you get a negative times a negative, which is a positive. The square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3. That's so far my numerator. Let's go ahead and do the same thing with the denominator. So 3 times 3 is 9. Outside, right here, you get negative 3 times the square root of 3. Inside, you get positive 3 times the square root of 3. And then last, you get a positive times a negative, which is a negative. Square root of 3 times square root of 3, which is just 3. All right, let me go ahead and simplify this further. So 9 and 3 give you 12. And then negative 3 times the square root of 3 minus 3 times the square root of 3 is minus 6 times the square root of 3. That is all divided by, these guys cancel. Do y'all see that? Because it's negative 3 times the square root of 3 and positive 3 times the square root of 3. These guys cancel. So 9 minus 3 is 6. So I have 12 minus 6 times the square root of 3 over 6. Now, almost done simplifying. What I'm going to do here to simplify is I'm going to do I Heart Math. I'm going to do I Heart Math. Math hearts me. Doing my math correctly. Da da da. Da da da. This is weird singing this to myself. Alright, so I have 12 over 6 minus 6 times the square root of 3 over 6. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and simplify individually. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. And then here now these 6 can cancel because here it's in its own little term. These guys can cancel, and then you get the square root of 3. So this whole answer is 2 minus the square root of 3.